Kyle Schwarber had himself a night, a career night for the Phillies in their home victory, their lopsided win against the Braves. MLB Game Night, every game, every night, and we are underway.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for a Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
And welcome in, everyone. He is Lindsay Crosby, host of the Locked On Braves postcast. You can follow Lindsay on the X at Crosby Baseball. I'm Steve Lenox, host of the Locked On Red Sox postcast. You can follow me on the X at Lenox on Baseball. Lindsay, we're going to get to the Braves and Phillies. That'll be game number one in our opening segment. The Red Sox did finish off a 7-1 road trip. They swept all four in Baltimore after taking 3 out of 4 in the Bronx against the Yankees. And the Cubs, what's the panic button situation right now? They lose all 3 in San Francisco. And I mentioned the Yankees. Well, the Yankees hit a couple more home runs, in fact, 3 in their victory on the south side of Chicago. Our latest MLB Game Night is presented by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create your account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off on your first purchase. Lindsay, we do open up Braves, Phillies. Before we hear from Connor Thomas on the Phillies side of this, and he's got great perspective from the historical side, but 4 home runs from one hitter, 7 home runs total for the Phillies. A tough night for Atlanta pitching, keeping the ball in the ballpark.
Yeah, I mean, listen, at a certain point, you had to expect an outing like this when you are starting guys who were DFA'd by other teams and teams who are not playoff teams. Cal Quantrill came from the Marlins. But that hurt. And what hurt the most, I think, was Atlanta was up 3-0 before Philly ever got a chance to come to bat. And Atlanta ran themselves out of the inning. And from there, Philly scored 5 in the first, and the rout was on. Atlanta just never really had a fight in them after that. But I think that's what makes it even worse is you had a lead. You could have had a bigger lead. You blew that, and then you blew the lead with a couple home runs, and then they just kept hitting them. And I find it weird. 3 games this year with 4 home runs. Atlanta's been on the wrong end of 2 of those, but they went 1-1 in those games. They beat Eugenio Suarez and the Diamondbacks when Suarez had 4 back in, I think it was April.
Yep, late April. Yeah. So, Lindsay giving you some of the numbers there. Let's hear from Connor Thomas, Locked On Phillies. He's got even more on Kyle Schwarber. 21 times now in big league history where a hitter has hit 4 home runs. Listen to Connor there because this is rarer than a perfect game in Major League Baseball history.
There's one thing and one thing only to talk about tonight when it comes to the Phillies, and that is Kyle Schwarber's 4 home run game. I'm Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies. And what a performance by the Fightins and by Kyle Schwarber, the vocal leader in this clubhouse. You get smoked by the Mets 3 games in a row. You come back and you go down early to the Braves in this game. And Kyle Schwarber got everything started for this offense with a long home run. And then over the course of the game, followed it up with 3 more. He becomes only the 4th Philly in franchise history, the 21st player in Major League history to hit 4 home runs in a single ball game. That's a performance for the ages. It's rarer than a perfect game at the Major League level. And you just saw history tonight, folks. That's why he's in the MVP race. And I don't know if it fixes the Phillies, but for tonight, it makes us feel a whole lot better. We'll talk a lot about Schwarber on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Phillies.
Question, Steve Lenox. Is he really in the Hall of Fame race? I mean,
Hall of Fame or
I'm sorry, MVP race. Is he really in the MVP race?
And this is what I was going to say. I feel like it's the Heisman Trophy Award in, later in the season. He's accomplished this tremendous feat, 4 home runs, 9 runs batted. He's had his moment, and it comes late in the season. So that's going to be on the minds of the voters after the season is over and when they announce, when they vote, and then when they announce in November for NL MVP. So I mean, he's going to hit 50-plus home runs. So, I think he's certainly in the conversation. Well over 100 RBIs. And right now, what I keep thinking about, I mean, you want to talk about NL MVP, and if he's a candidate, he's going to make a lot of money this upcoming offseason because he is a free agent.
I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy who just goes off of advanced numbers. Shohei Ohtani has 7.1 WAR on Fangraphs. Kyle Schwarber is 15th in the National League at 3.9. When's the last time we saw a primary designated hitter get even an MVP like top 2 finish? It was David Ortiz with your Red Sox, right?
That was before they were my Red Sox. That happened when I joined up with Locked On, but they are my Red Sox now. We get to the Red Sox in just a moment. We're on the opposite ends of war, and I respect it and everything, but I mean, he's to me, one of the determining factors too is he's on a first place team right now. So he's their best hitter on the first place team. He's got those numbers that you talked about. Yeah. Again, you throw Ohtani in there. If he's second, does it have to be close, or do you want, Ohtani, sort of wins in a landslide?
Yeah. That's what 05. Ortiz was second to A-Rod in 05. Ortiz led baseball in RBI. A-Rod led the American League in homers and runs and WAR and slugging and OPS, and he won it over Ortiz. It feels like it's one of those. I feel like in modern baseball, the way that these writers now think about the game, it's so hard for a designated hitter to be valued for everything that they're doing on the offensive side and have everything they're not doing on the defensive side be ignored. I feel like that's where we are. I feel like it's still Ohtani, but to your point, he had the moment. It's going to be a conversation. He should be the runner-up. There's no real other second person other than him. I just can't see him winning at this point. Minus doing this maybe again.
Phillies coming off a sweep where they were swept by the Mets, and Schwarber, before his 4 home run, a 9 RBI night, 0 for 20 in that series where they were swept by New York. So
you want to get right, face the Braves.
Yeah.
You want to get right, face Braves pitching.
Cal Quantrill didn't last long, gave up. His line was ugly. Austin Cox, his line was ugly as well. Third player this year, Nick Kurtz, Eugenio Suarez for the Diamondbacks, and now Kyle Schwarber, 4 home runs in a game. Let's move on. Red Sox complete their series sweep, get a run in the 8th inning on a 2-out RBI knock by Romy Gonzalez, and win a 1-run game against the Orioles. They win all 4 in Baltimore. They go 7-1 on their trip. They're now a season high 15 games over 500. And with that, we welcome in Gabby from Locked On Red Sox. She shares her perspective on not only a victory and a 1-run win in the finale, but the Red Sox terrific road trip.
Resilience is key as the Red Sox sweep the Orioles on the road. I'm Gabby Maljanian from Locked On Red Sox, where the Red Sox just won a tight one in Baltimore by a final score of 3-2. And this team has shown a lot of resilience in this series. In game 1 of the series, they came from behind to win. In game 3 of the series, they came from behind to win. This game went back and forth today, but they did not back down. A big hit by Romy Gonzalez late to put the Red Sox up 3-2 in a lead that they would not relinquish. And the bullpen really did its part in a game in which Garrett Crochet didn't have his best stuff, but the pitching overall in this series was really good. To sweep a Baltimore team that's been playing well as of late in their home ballpark says a lot about the resiliency of this Boston Red Sox team, and that's very telling when you are looking to clinch a playoff spot. Tune in to Locked On Red Sox on any podcast platform for more on this team and this fun 4-game sweep.
Again, season high 15 games over 500. A lot of people talking about with me, Lindsay, of the Orioles. They ran into some outs. Crochet was on the ropes in the 5th inning. He got a line drive double play. Trevor Story makes a catch on a liner, throws to third. And then the 9th inning, Steven Matz gives up a leadoff double. Ground ball up the middle. Story throws to third as a runner tries to advance. Thrown out. Matz gets the next 2 batters. The Red Sox capitalized a lot in this series on mistakes made by what is a last-place team, although a lot of people had great expectations for Baltimore for 2025, not even close to meeting those expectations.
I feel like this is sometimes what you see with young teams, and it's not a universal thing, right? Milwaukee's a young team, and they're very fundamentally sound. But Baltimore you have a lot of young, talented players. you just traded a bunch of your veterans away, your Cedric Mullins, guys like that. And because of that, they sometimes run themselves into mistakes. They give away at-bats. They give away scoring opportunities. And a sign of a good team in Boston is you can take advantage of those. You can capitalize on your chances to score, and that's what they did. It makes you feel a lot better about if they're evenly matched with another team in the postseason, being able to capitalize on a mistake, because all of those mistakes and successfully converting those into runs in the postseason is such a big deal. And I think Boston's going to be well suited with their blend of youth and veterans to do that in October.
Let's spend 30 seconds to 60 seconds right here. Red Sox go home, first of 3 against the Pirates on Friday night. It's been known since really earlier in the week. Paul Skeens gets the start. It was found out late Thursday. The Red Sox are making the move. They're bringing up rookie Peyton Tolley, a left-hander drafted in the second round in 2024. He makes his big league debut. He burst on the scene here in 2025 in his first year, a full season pro ball.
MLB.com has him as the number 2 prospect in the system. Touches 99 on its fastball, averages 95, 96, getting a ton of swing and miss on the fastball. He's throwing a slider, he's throwing a change. It's really kind of a power profile, and it's all built around that fastball. And this Pirates team has not been very good offensively. It feels like, yes, he gets pressure of he has to square off opposite schemes in the first outing, but it's actually a pretty smooth landing. You get to do it at home. You get to do it against a not great offensive team in the Pirates. I feel really good about this simply because, I remember watching him at TCU. He's got the mentality. He pounds the zone with strikes. That'll play at the major league level. I'm really hyped for this matchup tomorrow night.
Yeah, game 1 of the 3-game series. Skeens against Tolley making his MLB debut Friday night from Fenway Park. Red Sox returning from a 7-1 road trip. Cubs swept in San Fran. The Yankees used the long ball on the south side of Chicago. Details next. It's MLB Game Night.
Hey, baseball fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use our limited time promo code SEASON and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You could make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already need. Never mind the stuff they have in there for restaurants. At first, I thought it was too good to be true. It is totally legit. Our usual Friday night pizza place is in here, and the gas station next to it where we fill up, also in there. Real people are getting paid just to make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon, Starbucks, all kind of other brands. So don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using our limited time promo code SEASON for a limited time 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code SEASON. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
We're back at it. MLB Game Night. Every game, every night. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We go segment number 2. We open up with the top 2 teams in the NL Central. No Chuck Freeman tonight. Chuck's traveling on assignment, we'll say. But the Diamondbacks, Lindsay, garner a split of the 4-game series in Milwaukee. Take the finales. They get 3 runs in the second, 3 in the third. Win 6-4 in Milwaukee Thursday afternoon. So the Brewers now 5-8 since their 14-game win streak. And Jose Quintana took the loss in this one and did not make it out of the 4th inning. He gave up those 6 runs that I mentioned. They were all earned. And I'm a little iffy right now all of a sudden on Milwaukee. I mentioned the stretch after the 14-game win streak.
Very uncharacteristic loss for them. I think it's one of those, 1, Quintana has a bad game. Every pitcher's going to have that. But 2, Milwaukee's been really good. Like I mentioned with the Red Sox there, capitalizing on opportunities, being fundamentally sound. They go 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position in this game. And because Milwaukee as a team, I remember reading a profile about them just recently, they know they don't have the power that a Yankees might have or a Philly might have. So they've focused on moving the runner over, getting the runner in, doing the small ball stuff. So seeing them go 1 for 12 with runners in scoring position tells me that just nothing was working right for them. But we've seen them come through in these opportunities so much this year.
Right.
I'm not yet worried simply about them going 2-2 in this series because we've seen this work a lot more often than we've seen it not.
Sorry on your notes, I had it backwards. Quintana, 5th loss of the season. Again, he went 3 2/3 in the outing. Milwaukee now on the road for 3 in Toronto, and they're facing a couple of division leaders here over their next 2 series. In Toronto for 3, then back home to Milwaukee. Begin a 3-game series Labor Day Monday against the Phillies.
That's a very tough stretch. But the good news is they've built that cushion over the Cubs where they can weather a stretch like this, even if they struggle, and still be in first place.
Giants won their 5th in a row, completed the series sweep against the Cubs in San Francisco Thursday afternoon, winning 4-3. Jung-Hoo Lee, RBI single in the bottom half of the 9th inning. Cubs do remain 6.5 back of Milwaukee, who we just talked about in the NL Central. All 3 losses in San Francisco, and now it's on to Denver for the Cubs as they'll face the Rockies this weekend. Let's welcome in Locked On Cubs host Sam Olber's got the details from Thursday from the Bay.
Just when you thought the Cubs might have been turning it around, it was time to be positive. They get swept in San Francisco. I'm Sam Olber from the Locked On Cubs podcast. It was just not a good series in San Francisco. Couple non-close defeats, and then on Thursday afternoon, a game the Cubs led 3-2. Ended up getting walked off by Jung-Hoo Lee on an RBI single. Willy Adames had a couple homers. Shota was okay, wasn't at his best. You guys know the drill. Cubs didn't score enough. A couple solo homers from Bush and Swanson, but just not scoring enough runs consistently. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I don't know how much I have to keep saying it. When this team doesn't score runs, or I shouldn't say that. When this team isn't an elite offense, it's just hard to take them seriously. And not only have they not been an elite offense in the second half of the season, but they haven't even been a mediocre one. So, swept away and got to bounce back this weekend in Colorado to salvage this road trip.
Well, you mentioned it earlier. If you're in a slump, you want to face Atlanta pitching. Maybe they go to Denver and kind of thump the Rockies over the next 3. You've got to hold out hope for the Cubs. I mean, they were the best team in baseball for so long, and they've hit a rough patch and need to get back on track.
I think what the big thing is Willy Adames getting back on track. He's had a rough year, but last 7 games, he's got 5 home runs. He gets 2 multi-hit games in the last 7 RBI in that stretch, 6 runs scored. And I did not expect them to trade for Rafi Devers and have one of the worst records in baseball since then. But they've really struggled, and it feels like they're kind of getting all of these guys through the acclimation period. They've had some injuries that have dealt with them. They lost Chapman for a while, things like that. But they're now starting to come out of that. And it kind of helps you see there's a path forward to being back in contention in a very tough division in 2026. It's too little too late now, but for the Giants, it's still something where they can absolutely be set up for next year. The Cubs, this is just one of those, yes, you get the Rockies. You've gotta handle your business in Denver if you want to stay in this race.
Win the series, go home. You've swept the series already on this trip in Anaheim against the Angels. You lose all 3 in San Francisco. The Giants do go 5-1 this season against the Cubs. They certainly had their number.
Every team's got that one team they just can't seem to beat.
Yeah.
Right? The Mets have been having a good year. They've been just decimated by Atlanta. Everybody has that one team they just can't seem to beat. This is the team for the Cubs.
Yankees 3 home runs in their victory on the south side of Chicago on Thursday. They beat up. Only 3. We'll get into some of those numbers because, wow, they've been hitting home runs of late. They've hit home runs all season. I mean, it started with 9 against Milwaukee way back in late March. But we got Brian McKeon, one of our co-hosts here on MLB Game Night, and also host of Locked On Yankees as well.
By a 1-for-37 stretch, Anthony Volpe goes 2 for 3, helping the Yankees to a 10-4 victory. I'm Brian McKeon from Locked On Yankees. As we said, did you think this would be an important series in August at the beginning of the year? No, but it is. Yankees and the White Sox, the start of a 4-game series to get the first win, very, very important. Game looked dicey at the start, but the Yankees proved they were the better team, got to the Chicago bullpen, and was able to get the power with the long ball going. It's good that Anthony Volpe got his back going a little bit, gained some confidence with another error tonight. You have to start to get this team rolling and get him a little bit of confidence if they're going to have any chance this year in moving forward. Big win for the Yankees. Big win. Got to keep it going.
Well, big error too, Lindsay, from Volpe. His 18th on the season. Warren ends up giving up a 2-out grand slam to Miguel Vargas, and that turned out to be the only runs of the night for Chicago. But Warren goes 5, gives up 4, none of the runs earned on his ledger.
It's Volpe at this point. You've got to play Jose Caballero. I know you gave Volpe 2 days off for the mental reset. You've got to go back to playing Caballero. And at this point, I don't know what the Yankees do going forward. I don't think George Lombard's going to be ready next year. But I think at this point, you've seen this now 3 seasons of Anthony Volpe not making it happen. It's now bled into the defense. He went from a Gold Glove winner in his rookie year to, I think he's second in baseball in errors behind Ellie De La Cruz. And you got to do something. I do want to point out, though, Cody Bellinger's now hitting .283 on the year with 26 homers and 81 RBI. He has a club option for this year. But if he exercises that club option, for 26, if he exercises that, he'll be a free agent going into a lockout year. So he may not pick it up, go to free agency this year, try to get his long-term deal.
The Mets coming off a series sweep and an impressive sweep over the Phillies, but sloppy play resulting in a loss in their opener against the Marlins at Citi Field on Thursday night. Lindsay and I have the details. Next, it's MLB Game Night.
There's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person. But actually getting tickets, that's the tough part. Queues, login screens, surprise fees. It takes all the fun out of it, and that's why I use Game Time. It's the app that gives the advantage back to fans. Game Time is fast, it's easy, and it's backed by the Game Time guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. You know your total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. So, download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB, LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today.
Marlins Mets game 1 of their series, this 4-game series at Citi Field this weekend, Thursday night. Marlins 3 in the 7th inning, take the opener 7-4. Mets a season high 3 errors in the game. They also had a pass ball. They tried to cut down a runner at the plate. That did not happen in that 7th inning. And I watched a lot of this game. I picked it up after Pete Alonso tied the game up with a 2-run home run, his 30th on the season. But then all of a sudden, it's like, what in the world are they doing here? 7 runs for the Marlins, 5 unearned runs charged to the Mets, or just 2 earned runs, I should say, charged to the Mets pitchers on the night. This is not the kind of loss you want after taking 3 in a row against the Philadelphia Phillies, the team you're looking up at in the division. Let's hear from Chris Schwarber, Locked On Mets.
That the Mets wanted to have tonight. Not really sure what there is to say about a team that played really well for 3 games against Philadelphia, and they're riding high off of those emotions, and they play as poorly as they did tonight. Sleepwalking, one might say, just not playing crisp baseball. 3 errors in this game. It's the first time they've done that since, I believe, 2024. The Mets normally play some solid, sound defense. It was Pete Alonso once. It was Clay Holmes once trying to catch the ball from a Pete throw at first base. Pete this time actually throws a dart instead of the lollipop. Brendan Nimmo misjudges how fast the ball is coming into him, and the Mets just don't play crisp baseball. And now you feel like there's all sorts of pressure added to Jonah Tong tomorrow in his MLB debut because the Mets can't afford to let really any of these 3 games over the weekend against the Marlins go to waste. Phillies won tonight. Kyle Schwarber had a massive day hitting 4 home runs. The Mets, they gave away a chance here tonight to stay even with the Phillies, and instead they gave back one of the games that they gained earlier in the week. And at least we have Jonathan tomorrow to get excited about, but just feels like the pressure is ramped up for that start tomorrow. Hopefully the Mets will be able to respond.
You're only as good as your next day pitcher, and they've got a rookie making his big league debut as they try to even up the series. It's just going to be interesting. McLean's done a great job. Maybe Jonathan fast track. I mean, most of the season in Double-A, just a handful of starts at Triple-A. Welcome to the big league club, kid.
And no pressure. Your team's just locked in a division race, and they're losing right now. I don't want to be that guy. I'm a Braves fan. Everybody knows that. So it's going to sound like, but this is the Mets being the Mets, right? I mean, It's who made the errors. The veterans made the errors. Pete Alonso made an error. Brandon Nimmo made an error. Clay Holmes made an error. It wasn't Brett Beatty at third, right? It wasn't Mark Vientos. It was the veterans doing this. And if I didn't know any better, I'd say it's almost like the pressure getting to them a little bit, right? They're playing a little tight because they think we've got to win every single game to catch Philly. They got the sweep. They were ground. They turn right around and give some of it back. And they've got to lock in. Like, New York has the talent to do it if these young pitchers can be good and if the position players, the veterans, can play like they're supposed to. But Juan Soto goes 0 for 4 with a strikeout. 3 defensive errors. That's not going to cut it.
And the Marlins are not the team you want to face if you're the Mets, because the Marlins right now are in that space where, it's a franchise thing too, because the Marlins have spoiled seasons in the past for the Mets. I go back to the year my son was born, and a former Brave left-hander and a Hall of Fame pitcher, Tom Glavine, was on the mound. I got my son right there. Hey, let's watch the game. It was over in the first inning. Jonathan goes in game 2 on Friday night. They've already got Nolan McLean in the big leagues as well. He's gotten off to a fantastic start. There was one from SNY. The Marlins are closing in on 2,200 at-bats from rookies this season. No other team in baseball. Ron Darling brought up the A's. Yeah. But no other team in baseball has even close to 1,500 at-bats from rookies this season. But perfect timing for me to be there, because I was like, wow, that's huge.
Perfect timing, great stat, but also perfect time for them to get this in. Like, go ahead and get all of these guys over that curve now, so that you break in some young pitchers. You do this. Hopefully next season, they can be more into an actual legitimate wild card contender. But speaking of tomorrow, actually, Jonathan, Yuri Perez, that's going to be a fantastic matchup of 2 young, impressive pitchers.
St. Louis on Thursday. We're going to hear from Gary, Locked On Pirates, JD, Locked On Cardinals in just a moment. But, the Cardinals manage a split of the series as they take the finale 4-1. The Pirates do win the season series 7-6 against St. Louis. JD, notice the shades. JD looking sharp.
And that's a winner. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals, and the St. Louis Cardinals defeat the Pittsburgh Pirates by a score of 4-1 on Thursday afternoon at Busch Stadium. And give credit where credit is due. Miles Mikolas was good. He was very good. The one blemish on the stat line today, the 440-foot bomb by Tommy Pham. But other than that, Miles Mikolas was excellent. So high five, Miles Mikolas. Well done. Been pretty good at home this year, to be honest. The big inning, bottom of the 7th inning, Cardinals offense comes to life thanks to a leadoff walk to Mason Wynn. Thomas Ajayci tries the sack bunt, looks terrible at it, decides, forget that, going to hit a double instead. That scores Mason Wynn from first base. And then Jordan Walker with the 2-run bomb. Hit it off the end of the bat. Didn't even get all of it. Still carried out to left center field. Makes it 4-1. Bullpen locks it down. 4-1 victory for the Cardinals today. We're on to Cincinnati. For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
There's been a lot of MLB Game Night shows this year where JD has just piled on Miles Mikolas, and within reason, but, he gives him the tip of the cap there, the chuck on the old shoulder as he gets the job done. Did give up that first inning home run to Pham, and that was it over the course of his outing.
But being able to rebound like that, I think, is big for him, because he's been really homer prone this year. And I mentioned earlier, the Pirates are not a great offensive team, but still, they've got veterans who can do things like that, and he didn't let them do it. And then we talk about the young guys. Jordan Walker, a young guy who struggled to have success. Thomas Ajayci, a lot of young guys here. They're able to get contributions out of it. Kind of feels like they're also getting their guys over that hump this year. So that
you mentioned the Marlins, Cardinals, similar. Yeah.
Just running a lot of young guys out there and getting them comfortable. And Lars Nootbaar back to being hot again. 3-hit game for him. He went back to the leadoff spot somewhat recently and has been producing again after some time on the bench.
Again, Cardinals 4-1 victory, split the 4-game series at home at Busch Stadium against the Pirates. And we've got Gary, Locked On Pirates, with his side of the story on Thursday in the series finale.
Lost 4-1 to St. Louis. I mean, I can't say I didn't smell this coming. They struggle like hell with pitchers like Miles Michaelis or Adam Wainwright or even Andre Palante a lot of the time. These guys that throw, junk balls up there, for some reason they just can't do it. This is Gary from Locked On Pirates. O'Neal Cruz is really becoming a story, and it's not just like returning from the injury. The whole second half of his season, it's worse than that. It started before the All-Star game. I don't know what happened, but everything is discombobulated. They have really got to go back into the shop with him and figure him out. More than anything, they got to get that kid to clear his head and just swing at the first pitch. I mean, at least until pitchers stop giving you a meatball on the first pitch, take a hack. There's a good chance you're getting something in the middle of the plate right now. It can't possibly be worse than what he's doing. More on this tomorrow morning on Locked On Pirates. I think it's time to really delve into Cruz and the player he's actually become. Time to stop waiting for him and start wondering exactly what we can do with what he actually is.
Lindsay, you mentioned Jordan Walker with the Cardinals in the game before, or actually for this game, I'm sorry. But, O'Neal Cruz feels like that. They can't miss on him. He's got to be one of their guys here for the next handful of years, where they still have Paul Skeens and what we've tabbed as, next year, potential to have a very good pitching staff, 1 through 5 in the rotation and the bullpen as well.
He's one of those kind of frustrating guys because he has all the physical tools in the world and it just has not put it together. They've taken him off a shortstop, put him in center field, and he always has flashes, and then he always has just terrible plays, terrible at-bats, terrible defensive lapses, not running out of the ball or whatever. And he's one of those. I don't want him to be one of those what-ifs. And it feels like we're trending towards making O'Neal Cruz a what-if in the story of Major League Baseball.
Final game from Thursday. Astros get 2 home runs from Christian Walker. Broke a 3-3 tie with a home run in the 8th inning, his second of the game, 21st on the season. Jose Altuve also with his 23rd on the year. Astros beat the Rockies 4-3. Brian King scoreless 8th inning for the win, 4th on the year. Astros still 4 at home against the Angels and 3 against the Yankees on this current homestand. Lindsay, thoughts to the weekend as we wrap?
Excited to see a lot of the young players getting opportunities, whether it's starting pitchers, whether it's position players, and they're jumping right into divisional races. So no pressure, boys, but you're in the thick of it. You're in the frying pan. Let's do it.
You are in the deep end of the pool. That is a wrap for us on our latest edition of MLB Game Night. MLB Game Night, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get your podcasts. MLB Game Night, every game, every night.